ask you to forgive me ahead of time if I become a little bit too impassioned on today's program. I feel it is my duty as a host of a television show to keep myself on a fairly even keel, and I've been trying to do it. My wife told me I have to do it. So did certain people who are advising me around me. But nevertheless, there is a time for anger. There's a time for anger. There's a time for righteous, indignant anger. We see it in the life of Christ. We see it with other Bible figures. Let's play the clip of President Obama. I believe he was at the White House at a dinner celebrating Ramadan, which means it was after nightfall. If you're going to eat during Ramadan, it has to be after the sun sets. Go ahead and play the clip.
Our values are threatened. We come together as one nation. When 3 young Muslim Americans were brutally murdered in Chapel Hill earlier this year, Americans of all faith rallied around that community. And obviously tonight our prayers remain with Charleston and Mother Emanuel Church. As Americans, we insist that nobody should be targeted because of who they are or what they look like, who they love, how they worship.
All right, later on in the story, I did not find this in a clip setting, but there was a quote from the speech where he said, most Americans don't know any Muslims, and the only impact or impression they have of Muslims is from things that they see on the news, and so it's understandable why they would have a negative impression of Muslims. Now, I believe, I could be wrong, I believe that the president has malice along with his deception. I believe that he knows he's an intelligent enough man to understand when he does a bait and switch, and that he understands also that most of Americans, hopefully not you and I, that's why you watch this show, but most of Americans watching the sound clips or just swallowing whole the nonsense from the New York Times or from ABC or CBS, most Americans will believe his drivel. They will actually believe his drivel, and they'll miss when he does mix and match. So let's start. First of all, he's talking about Muslims, but the discussion is about Islam. That's number one. Number two, he focuses on the killing of those young people in Chapel Hill, but does not mention, to my knowledge, the monster down in Texas, the man who murdered a young couple because the wife led his daughter to Christ. We'll come back to that in a little bit, but in case you didn't know, a man in Texas literally murdered, plotted, and shot the young woman, a 30-year-old Iranian Christian. She used to be a Muslim. She left her Muslim faith, came to Christ. Then she talked to the girl who lived in this man's house, his daughter, led her to Christ. The girl married a Christian man, and the father, to vindicate Islam, murdered the Christian woman who led his daughter to Christ, and then murdered her husband some months later. We've not heard a word out of the White House about that incident, not a word. And then he uses the horrific shooting in Chapel Hill, which he has been doing to further his anti-gun agenda. So many things I have to say here. I have to just calm myself and say them in a paced manner. First of all, Christianity does not have as a part and parcel of what it does and what it has done from its inception, does not have the killing of people who are in other religions as a part of what it does. Simply isn't there. When a couple of the apostles complained to the Lord that, I believe it was the people of Samaria who would not listen to them or receive their message, he said, do you want us to call down fire from heaven as Elisha did? And Jesus rebuked them and said, you don't know what spirit you are of. He said, the Son of Man did not come to destroy life, but to save it. So we see in that exact instance, when his apostles wanted to literally call down the fire of God to kill people who did not believe the gospel, Jesus rebuked them and said, you don't know what spirit you're of. I would venture to guess that he was talking about the spirit of death, the spirit of the devil. The thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy. You are of your father, the devil, because the devil was a killer, a murderer from the beginning. He rebuked them. Muhammad, on the other hand, when people refuse to hear his message and believe in his prophetic mantle, his prophetic mission, that he was the slave of Allah, he ordered his followers to assassinate people that spoke against him. Okay? There's the difference. So for the president to just lump Christianity and Islam together, as he's done before when he's at the prayer breakfast rebuking Christians for the Crusades, this is probably deliberate, deceptive malice. I'll be right back.
Hey, everyone's been asking me, when's Unstoppable coming out on DVD? Well, it's here. And I have created my own deluxe signature version of Unstoppable that contains not only the movie, but over 5 hours of additional curriculum and study guides for your family. It's perfect for your homeschool, educational facility, small group Bible study, and family devotions. And I'm going to share with you some of the spiritual warfare that surrounded the release of this film. This box set also includes extended scenes, new music videos, the inside scoop on the whole Facebook controversy. So what are you waiting for? I made this special version with my family in mind, and I know your family will be blessed by it too. Unstoppable 2.0 Deluxe Signature Version, available only here at KurtCameron.com. I can't wait for you to experience what's inside.